Ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to be rich. I wanted to be able to grow up and have enough money to do whatever I want. I didn't really want to work a job. I wanted to have enough money to help my family and my friends. I just wanted to be rich. But here's the thing, bro. Whenever I was in high school, I realized that they don't teach you really anything about being rich or growing your money or just making money in general. During school, they don't teach you really anything about money. They might tell you a little bit about taxes, but that's about it. I remember every single day when I would get home from school, I would go onto YouTube and search up videos on how to get rich. And I would study those videos and see what they were saying. And the main thing that they would say on how you can get rich is they would always say, oh, you need to make a lot of money. You need to have a high income. You need to, be valuable enough. You need to work a job where you get a ton of money. So what I would do is I would look for jobs that made a lot of money. And there were, doctors and dentists and sometimes car salesmen make a lot of money. I was searching up jobs that make a lot of money because I wanted to have a lot of money. That's the only way I knew on how to get rich. But here's the thing, bro. That is not true at all. You do not need to make a lot of money to become rich. You do not need to make a lot of money to become wealthy. You do not need to make a lot of money at all. There is this misconception around the world and around millions of people. They think that you need to make a ton of money to become rich, but that is not true. Let me tell you, bro. All right, so I had this friend a couple of years ago, and his dad worked as a mailman, okay? So his dad was literally a mailman. That's a pretty basic job. You don't get that much money, right? But for some reason, his dad always had money. Every time I would go to his house, his dad would have a lot of cash just sitting around. Every time I would go to his house, we would go swimming in his pool. He had a super nice house. And I was like, how the hell does your dad have a super nice house? How does he always have money hanging around? How does he always take us out to eat and he always pays for us? He's literally a mailman. I was really confused as to how his dad had all that money, but then I had another friend and his dad was a doctor. Every time I would go to that kid's house, it was decent. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't bad. It's not like he had an amazing house, but he didn't have a bad house. His house, though, wasn't as nice as the mailman guy, and that was always weird to me. I was like, how does your dad, who's a doctor, not have a nice house? I feel like doctors should have nice houses. But here's the thing. The reason that mailman dude seemed like he had so much money and, he had a super nice house and all that, even though he was a mailman and he was barely making a lot of money, the reason he seemed rich was because he was very good at saving money and he was smart with his money. Now, my other friend, his dad, who was the doctor, for some reason, they just didn't seem like they had a lot of money. Even though their dad was literally a doctor, he seemed like he didn't have a lot of money. And here's the thing. He was bad with money and he didn't save. He didn't invest. Every single person in the world thinks you have to make millions and millions of dollars a month just to become rich, but you don't. I think the easiest thing that you can do right now to start becoming rich is to be frugal. The person that is frugal knows what to spend their money on and knows what not to spend their money on. They don't make stupid purchases. They only buy things that have a lot of value to them. So, for example, let's talk about cars. Take a look at this guy. This guy makes $5,000 a month, but he pays $2,000 a month towards his super nice Dodge Challenger or whatever. He got a Hellcat, I'm pretty sure. After he pays all of his bills and he pays for his car, he ends up with $500 extra a month. But then take a look at this guy over here. He looks pretty normal. He seems like an average guy. This guy is a janitor at a high school. He's only making $1,500 a month. This guy drives an old 2001 Toyota. He doesn't have a monthly payment on his car because he paid it off a long time ago. And after all of his bills, he has an extra $1,000 per month. Now, just by looking at these two guys, you would probably think that this guy, who looks really cool, he has the fresh clothes and he has a Hellcat, you would think that he's more rich than the janitor at the local high school, right? But here's the thing. The janitor doesn't spend as much. The janitor doesn't buy super fancy clothes. The janitor doesn't have a $2,000 a month car payment. And also, the janitor has more money at the end of the month, even though he makes so much less per month. One of the biggest things that people do, which really just ruins their chance of being rich, is whenever they get their money, they have to spend it all. Let's say you make $10,000 a month, which is a lot of money. Let's say you make $10,000. Back when I was a teenager and I was just getting started with all this YouTube stuff, I started to make a decent amount of money. Let's just say I was making $5,000 a month. That's not the real amount, but let's just say that. Whenever I started making $5,000 a month from YouTube, I was like, okay, this is really crazy. I'm making $5,000. I'm only, 15, 16 years old. This is sick. What I did was I ended up buying a car and I got a car payment. I think I ended up getting a super nice looking car. It was probably $50,000 worth of value, but I was making payments on about, $700 a month. Whenever I pulled up to school next day in that nice car, People were like, dang, dude, DJ's YouTube channel's taking off. He got a nice car. But what people don't realize is that I was paying a lot of money for that car every month. And the thing about cars, they lose their value. I was paying $700 a month every single month for a super nice car. But that car, the value was just going down and down and down every single day. It was going down and down and down. That's the second thing that keeps people broke and doesn't allow them to be rich. People spend their money on liabilities. Liabilities are things that you spend money on and then the value goes completely down. Like, for example, cars. You could go buy a nice 2025 Toyota, but then the minute you drive it off the lot, it's gonna lose like 10% of its value, just like that. For some reason, humans are super drawn to super cool and like nice and crazy things, but we don't really think about the value of these things. If you want to be rich, you need to stop spending money on these liabilities and you need to spend money on assets. Assets are like houses, investments, things like that. Things that will go up in value over time. Let's say, for example, when I was 18 years old, I decided to buy a $300,000 house. Today, the value of that same house would probably be $400,000 because houses just go up. There are some years where houses go down because like the prices of the housing market is up and down, but normally after, 5 years, houses go up in value. I would have made $100,000 profit on that house if I would have purchased it. But you're probably saying, DJ, I don't have enough money like to buy a house. Like, this is why I can't buy assets. They're so expensive. Here's the thing, bro. People don't realize that investing in the stock market and just making investments in general can be so cheap. You can literally start investing in the stock market with $1. You can put $1 into a stock and you can make money. Now, most people, when they think of the stock market, they're like, okay, this is just like a gamble. Like I'm just buying a stock and I don't know if it's going to go up or down, blah, blah, blah. So let's say you put $10 into an index fund, like an S&P 500 index fund. In about 5 years, you would have like $100. I know that doesn't seem very special, like, oh, $10 to $100, like that's not that good, DJ. But here's the thing. Most people your age end up buying a car when they're like 16, 17, 18 years old, and they get a car payment, right? Most people end up paying like $400 to $700 a month on their car payment. Let's just say you put $400 a month into some stocks. In 5 years, that car that you're paying for is probably going to be trash at that point, or you're probably going to sell it. The car is going to go down in value a lot. But those investments that you were putting $400 a month into, in only 5 years, you could be up to $50,000. The literal main difference between rich people and poor people is the fact that rich people know what to spend their money on and they know what to do with their money. Poor people don't know what to spend their money on and they don't know what to do with their money. They get a car payment. They go into credit card debt. They buy things that they do not need to satisfy people that they do not like and they will never see again. That's what poor people do. If you learn how to save your money and spend the money in good ways, you will be rich by the time you're like 25 to 30. If you are smart with your money and you don't spend money on drinks every weekend or spend money on your credit card or spend money on crazy car payments to have a super nice car and look super cool, you will literally have so much money by the time you're 30. All of your friends, once they hit 30, they're going to be broke and not know what to do. They're going to be paying $700 a month for this car that's going down in value. They're going to be hurting. They're going to have credit card payments. They're going to have $5,000 to their bank account, but you're going to have like 100,000. You're going to have 100,000 invested. If you just lock in, you will be rich. All you have to do is one, save your money. Do not spend a lot of money. That is rule number one. That is so simple. Rule number two, when you do spend money, spend it on things that you really need and spend it on things that have value and hold their value. Don't spend your money on a brand new car just because you want to look cool. Spend your money on that 2005 Toyota that is going to last you a long time with no problems. And then finally, rule number three, be willing to take a risk. Everybody who has a lot of money in this world took a risk to get there. You don't become super rich by being super scared and patient. I mean, if you invest like $5 a month for the rest of your life, maybe you might end up with $100,000 by the time you're 98 and you're on your deathbed. But if you want to be rich and actually have financial stability and actually have money when you're young so you can actually use it and have a good life when you're young, you have to be able to take a risk. And taking a risk could be, putting money into this stock that you don't want to put your money in, but you know it's going to go up, so you do it. Or taking the risk is risking being laughed at driving an old ass car because you don't want to spend a lot of money on a new car. You have to take some sort of risk to become rich. If you focus on these three rules that I just said, you will have money and you will be good with money. They don't really teach you this in school. They don't teach you any of this. Everybody's just programmed to spend, spend, spend. Oh, this new iPhone came out, spend. Oh, this new car came out, spend. These are the things they don't want to tell you, but this is the way to get rich and have a good life. If you want to see a video I made where I was talking about the worst habits that you should never have, click this video right there. Those are some of the worst things you can do to your life. So click that to make sure you never do those. Peace out.